Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sue with Homesteading with Sue, and today I'm going to hand make some sourdough pasta. It takes 1 cup of sourdough starter, just going to put the lid back on the sourdough. I'm actually going to find something to put this on. Okay, and then I'll need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And again, I use just the cheap flour from Walmart, bleached and just regular white flour. Two. And 3. Okay, I'm just going to stir this up a little bit before I start to add my 4 eggs. You can make these with a stand mixer, but I don't have one that the dough hook fits, so I have to do it by hand. I could have probably used a bigger bowl, but that's nothing unusual. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start kneading this by hand. I am going to go ahead and wash my hands real fast and put some flour down on the counter so I can knead it on the counter instead of in that bowl. Okay, we're going to try not to add too much flour to the counter because we don't want the dough picking up any more flour than it needs. And my surface on the table is clean. And we want to mix well, incorporate the rest of the flour, and knead by hand for 10 minutes. So I've already did that part. So I'm just going to keep kneading. If at any point the dough becomes too sticky, place it on a floured surface and pat the flour over the entire surface of the dough. And after this step, and we get it mixed together, we're going to let the dough rest for 30 minutes. Or we could allow it to ferment covered for 2 to 6 hours. And we want to make sure that we can then refrigerate it for up to 24 hours if we don't decide we don't want to bake these right away. But I'm thinking I'm going to have, my husband doesn't like it, but I think I'm going to have spaghetti tonight for dinner, and I thought I'd make some some sourdough noodles to go with it. Okay, so that looks good to me. So we're going to let it sit covered for 30 minutes. I'm going to get a different bowl. We're just going to let it relax. Alexa, start a 30-minute timer.
Second timer, 30 minutes.
And we'll be back.
You want to name this time?
All right, so we can, I don't have a pasta maker either. So to shape without a pasta maker, we're going to make these into 8 equal parts. Well, I got 7. Close enough for me. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lightly flour the table. And we're going to roll these as thin as we can get them. And then we're going to cut them with the pizza roller or pizza cutter. And I'm just going to cut them. Then we're going to move them to the towel that I have spread out here and let them dry for at least 30 minutes, but up to 2 hours. I'm just going to put them on here. Now I'm going to do that 6 more times. I know they're probably supposed to be flat, but you know what? I'm just going to make spaghetti with them, so it doesn't really matter to me. I'm going to go online and see if I need to dehydrate them to be able to keep them where they're usable. That's why these should be flat instead of crinkled together. That's why these should be flat instead of all together, but so they can dry. But I don't have really enough room to do that right now, so I'm just gonna. All right, so this probably isn't as thick as it needs to be, but it's a lot thicker than it was. So I'm just gonna put this off to the side, and I'm going to, once my hamburger is ready to cook, I'm going to cook it in that pan. But right now I'm going to pull that off of there. And I've turned that burner off already. So when I'm ready to do the next step, I'll show you. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cook the noodles first. So we're waiting for this to boil. And then we're going to use some salt to flavor the water. And then we're going to use some of these homemade noodles that I made earlier. we're just going to wait for this water to boil. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and come back when it's boiling. Alright, so our water is just about to boil. So I'm just going to put a good amount of salt in it. I have the hamburger browning now, and I put in Lowry seasoning salt, pepper, some onion powder, some onion salt, no, some garlic powder, and I think that was it. Alright, so I have my water boiling. Now I'm going to put in noodles. All right, so now it says to sorry about that. Stir the noodles with a fork and let them cook for 4 to 5 minutes. And when the noodles have, add the fresh pasta to boiling water and boil for 4 to 5 minutes, stirring with a fork to loosen up the noodles. When the noodles have very al dente texture and are cooked completely through, strain and then add to your mixture that you want to put it in. I should have probably not left them stuck together, so that might be an issue for me. But we'll try it. We're going to get it back to boiling, and then I will be back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these noodles. Put them in a strainer so that the water can drip out. I think I'm going to do another batch though, because I don't think that's enough noodles for the amount of meat that I got, but maybe not. It's kind of like a homemade hamburger helper. Actually, I'm not going to make any more noodles. It should be fine. Nothing wrong with... Alexa, turn off timer. There's nothing wrong with being more noodles than... less noodles than meat. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my thing. And I'm going to go ahead and add it to my hamburger mixture. And then when it's done, I'll show you what it all looks like together on a plate.